Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. As we, Darren Tipton again from the home living room, I guess, today on the holiday weekend. And we'll let people start to tune in as we wait. We know Kari Spears is going to hop on, and we're hoping maybe a couple other Texas future Longhorn commits do as well. This is something literally we just threw together in the last 90 minutes, and it's a holiday weekend. And as I tend to do probably too often, we just thought of this morning. We got a couple messages last week, this week earlier as we were in Louisville, and from the passionate Longhorn Nation saying, "Hey, why don't you interview the Longhorn commits?" Since we were interviewing Nebraska and Kentucky and Louisville and Wisconsin. And I said, well, we are at a tournament with Louisville and Wisconsin and Nebraska. That is kind of why we were interviewing their classes. But so as I remembered this, I said, well, hey, why don't we do this? And also I was talking with somebody at the First Serve Showcase, and I said, what I really want to do is like the Manning cast for football, because I'm just kind of a sports geek like this. And so I said, hey, this might be the time to do it. And so Kari, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, let's see. How about now, Kari?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it helps if I hit that mute button. I'm still learning, but how have you been? I haven't talked to you in about a year, I guess.
I know. I've been really good. I just got back from a school volleyball tournament. So yes, getting back into volleyball, I guess playing now.
Yeah, congratulations. I saw through the social web that another MVP award. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and that was in Austin, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. And so as I was thinking, and I sent out the invite, and you happened to respond, I was like, well, what better? I'm like, of course, of all the Texas commits that might have heard of the Manning cast, you probably have grown up in a football family.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna try that out first, but you want to go into broadcast journalism, right? If I remember from our previous talks.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you will take this and run, and actually, what a perfect time! I don't know if you saw, but I think we're in for a long afternoon, volleyball fans. This one looks like it could very easily go 5 and be a great match. So when the match comes on, they're during commercial right now after set 2, and when that comes on, we'll turn our camera on, and we'll talk a little bit about the match and just ask you some questions as the match gets going again. But I want to ask, I want to talk just about Texas and your thoughts. First of all, does it seem like it's been a long process? Does it seem like it's been years since you started the recruiting process up until now?
It feels like it was like a while ago. Like I know this time last year I was still kind of narrowing down my decisions and things like that. So it feels like a long time ago, but it also like I just remember it so vividly that it feels like yesterday too.
Yeah. And you were one, let me ask you as an old veteran, a 2025, you're like an old person now. So, people, we don't even remember your class. So what did you think this year with the 26s as we bring in the Adrenaline Cast screen? Not quite the ESPN budget card, but how did I do?
No, I can see it good.
Good. I mean, that's pretty good for for a little, webcam. I mean, right? We can
No,
we can break that down, right? We can see the score, everything else. So we'll let that play for a little bit. But what did you think this year? I mean, because you were one, you still hadn't committed by this time last year.
yeah. No, it was really cool to see like what 26s we were gonna get, because it's always exciting for us, like, since we're committed now,
Yeah.
to see like who wants to join our family, because I know that we met like them at one of the Texas camps. And so we were just really excited to see like who was gonna commit there and like who's now gonna be a part of our family and going into Texas.
Well, but in general, just because you took so long, and like Taylor, who we're gonna talk about that, I sent him a re-invite because a couple, I think Abby and Taylor are actually at the match, and I'm like, hey, just click the link. We'd love to have you. Maybe it's a little too loud there, but Taylor took a long time as well. What did you think of the 26 class in general, committing boom, 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 compared to your process?
I thought, well, first off, I was extremely excited because we have that anticipation of who's going to commit to Texas, who's going to be like joining our family. So I really loved getting to see it super early.
Yeah.
But I feel like from also talking to the girls, they had, because unlike me, I didn't go to like a lot of camps for colleges and things like that. So I
Right.
didn't really see the campuses of the schools that I was like the most interested in. So I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. Which is why it felt so important for me to take my visits. But a lot of those girls knew what colleges they liked, like what they were looking for. They had been to the campuses that they wanted to see. So they were able to know from based on talking to the coaching staff and seeing the campus and seeing the recruits where they wanted to commit. And I feel like just kind of knowing what they wanted played such a huge part in that.
Yeah. And I want to talk more about you and about Texas. I won't throw my 2 cents in on if you really know. I still think it's hard to really know, even doing your homework up until I think your process, and asking the questions and going on a visit. Um, I, I still feel like you just need to take more time, to have multiple conversations actually with the coach and watch them in season. Like I sat at the match on Tuesday night, the matches, and when it got intense, you saw different coaches, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't think you see that at camp, right?
Yeah.
Like I use it. Camp is called camp for a reason. Um, and I think, and that's not a negative. We act different in stressful situations because, and I think you grew up in a household where your parents probably have explained that to you growing up, why coaches at higher levels act certain ways because they're coaching for their jobs, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
most athletes don't get taught that growing up,
Right.
right? And I think you and I talked about that last year.
Yeah.
Um,
We did.
yeah, and but most would have that advantage. But you taking your visits and seeing everything and getting to talk to them on more one-on-one level. I hope it works out for all of them, but I still like the route that you took and that Taylor took, and truly weighing everything out. But I mean, their decisions are made, so we'll see, right? Let me ask you this: the culture. I keep hearing about the culture at Texas. can can you expound on that? Can you expand on that at all? What does that mean? Because I hear coaches talk about it, I hear other coaches talk about it, and I hear every player talk about it.
Yeah. No, for sure. The culture when I was going through my recruiting process was one of the most, if not the most important things when I was looking at a program. And luckily for all the programs that I went to and I visited, they all seemed to have a great culture. But when I got to Texas, it was just something different. I could feel like when I was on my visit, I really connected with all of the girls, with all of the coaches. And like you said, sometimes like coaches will put their best foot forward when you're going on your visits and things like
Sure.
that. But I actually really saw an authentic like side of the program, I feel like, because before my visit, I went to watch the Texas and Stanford game, which was when all of our recruits were supposed to take our visit, but I ended up having a tournament and then it got canceled, so I was able to like go see the game. And the girls were honest with us and they were telling us how after they lost that Stanford game, Jarrett was not a happy camper. Like we could see it whenever he was coaching, like, and I guess that really showed me like, okay, they're not just putting on a front and telling us, "Oh, everything is great and dandy right now." Like, no, they were being honest and they were saying like they've got some work to do. Jarrett came up to us and actually said, "We've got some work to do. Like, we've got some things to work on." So I feel like that helped a lot. And then just the girls, like I know that people say it all the time, like it feels like a family, but it truly does. And it's all just been so exciting for me and just amazing to see. Like even with our 25s, we're not even in Texas yet, but we talk really often. We have our own group chat. Like we're really close as well already before even getting there. So I think just all of us loving each other plays into that like great culture that we have.
Well, and I do want to stop you because that's one of the things I've said, and I mean, I tell people with my coverage, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie, and um, I I want to correct you on one thing. It's not said about every program. They kids don't lie, and I talk to parents, I talk to players, and they don't lie. Now, coaches' jobs are to recruit, right? So they are all going to tell you they're going to use the word culture, but a lot of them you can tell it's a made up word. What I guess I've heard is the word about training, that they will continue to train you, whether you're the starter, the backup, the third, the third outside, the fourth outside, wherever that might be, they will continue to train you as part of your plan. And it's how you're, I think it's how you're treated as a person, whether you're the starter, the backup, the third. Um, that's kind of the message that I hear,
Yeah.
um, that I've been so impressed with, because that's what I don't hear at other programs that I hear maybe some more negative messages about, I guess, right? And uh, I always say it's up to you, right? You guys, you're not getting recruited there if you're not a stud,
Right.
right? Like you look at Taylor, you look at Abby, you look at, I just looked at the list when I sent you all invites. You're all very good, right? So you're going to have to prove it.
Right.
And they're not playing favorites. It's not politics. They are coaching for their jobs. You will earn it on the volleyball court, right? It's what I would be worried about as a parent is how you're treated otherwise. And that's what I hear good things about, is that part. And there's a lot of programs that part of the culture is really good, and Texas is one of them. And sometimes other programs aren't. And that's what I just hear with Austin itself. It just sounds like a pretty cool college town.
Yeah. It is. It's really cool. And I feel like even just being at Texas and us having other sports that are really good at what they do, being
Yeah.
by greatness like all the time, it really pushes us. And going back to what you said about training every single player, no matter their role on the court, if they're a starter or not, that was also one of the things that really attracted me to it because if you can see, like, we haven't had many transfers in the past few years. So that was like another thing that I was looking at when I was looking at colleges, and everybody just seems to be enjoying it, enjoying working together and getting better.
Yeah. Well, and there's names, and I'm late to this game the last 3 years, like your class, and like Skylar, Pierce, the freshman class this year
Yeah.
is the first class that I really started keying in on. So these juniors and seniors, I don't know as well, and I don't know their backgrounds, their histories, and who was a 5-star and a top 10 and blah blah blah. So I'm learning that there's girls, you know, top athletes on the bench at some of these programs that were you, right, when they were in high school, but they're still, they're still probably going to go pro, even though
Yeah.
they might not be playing at Texas, and they're getting trained that way. And the thing that's crazy for me is whether the national persona is this or not. Right now, I think it's hard to argue that Texas is the hottest program in the country, and they've kind of stolen that from Nebraska. And there should be an argument, right? That's what college sports is about, right? Arguing who's the best. But I mean, I think financially, I think national title wise, recruiting, right now, everything's kind of going Texas's way. And even fan support wise, they're starting to steal a lot of the national fan base. Do you kind of feel that on the club level when you go around? There's a lot more athletes like wearing Texas gear that aren't just from Texas.
Yeah. No, definitely. There's like been a lot of support, and not even just for Texas, I'll say, but women's volleyball in general, which
Oh
is
yeah.
the obviously. But yeah, I do notice like a lot more people are really into it. I was saying the other day how I had gotten out of school and we went to Costco and I was with my mom, and somebody came up to me in the store and was like, "Oh my gosh, no way, like you're Makaria Spears." And they asked to take a picture, and they were like, "Our family has literally a group chat for your class, like for 2025's going into Texas. We're so excited to see you guys going there." So the support has been amazing, and like you said, it's been growing even more for Texas, even out of the state. So it is a hot spot right now, and it's really exciting to see.
Okay, so before we dive into the game a little bit, I want to ask you this because it's important to me, and I've asked a lot of the 27s now, the top 27s, and it's just I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but it's something I'm going to continue, I guess, to push because of exactly what you just said. Somebody came up to you in Costco and knows who you are, which is awesome. And that's where the sport's going. And like I said, you have been around, I guess, stardom your whole life. You get it. And that could be good, or you also know it can be negative, right?
Right. Yes.
So it worries me a little bit that we don't have the I guess we're not promoting the wrong kind of role models, right? So I've seen you and watch. I always watch the top stars, and not so much what they do on the court. That's easy to see, and you're like, boy, that kid acts like a jerk, right? On the court,
Yeah.
or that's easy, to see. But I've watched how you handle yourself off the court with your teammates, and I've been very impressed. Very impressed. And even when you're dealing with your little brothers who are running everywhere. But what is that important to you? How would you say you are as a leader and a role model? And is it something you think about?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this year, even like just being a senior on my high school team, like obviously you're gonna be put in a leadership position. And I think I just come from the fact like these are all people, like volleyball is such a team sport and you need everyone. So the idea to like even put myself or anyone above the team is just like kind of crazy to me because you can't do without the person next to you. And I feel like you can almost tell when a team, like, they don't, like, have that great chemistry or they don't all get along the same, and so
Absolutely.
just treating everybody, I know this is gonna sound so cheesy and cliche, but, like, just treating everybody with respect and knowing that, like, you need to lean on every single person, especially in a team sport like volleyball. So, it's just the most important thing to be able to love on your teammates, trust on your teammates, and have them trust in you as well, because you're not gonna earn that by being, like, this huge dictator on the court.
But yeah, and we get a long speech. I know nobody following along likes wants to hear about this stuff, but it's important. I just think I call it being a decent human being, right? Like I go along and I like we have I don't know, people, big companies tell me all the time how few followers we have, right, compared to other people. So we're not a big deal. And I look at some of the people who take time every time they see me to stop and say hello and ask how things are going, and we watch your stuff, and then I watch some of the people that walk by me 100 times a tournament, right, and never have the time. It takes no more time for me to stop and say hello, and then I'll see parents that I see at every tournament and have time to say hello. I've talked to their daughter one time, right? And it takes no more effort for any of those people to say hi, right? It's the matter of what kind of a person you are.
Right.
And it's the same thing for star athletes or average athletes. It's just when you get to college, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever it is, the people doing the NIL deals are going to give those to the more recognizable athletes, right? And so when we interview and ask who our stars are, you need to talk and look at the character of your top players, because more likely than not, those are the ones that are going to be on Olympic commercials and commercials for Big Ten Network and SEC Network and ESPN, right? That's just the way it is, right? And so I always say when your best players, when a great player is a great person, they're so easy to cheer for, right? And I didn't think it's perfect. And when they're a great teammate, that is so awesome. But you're right. And usually the great ones are great teammates.
Right.
That kind of goes hand in hand. And you're right. They're selfless. But it's off the court, because you've probably seen those athletes too, right? Where they do the smile and they say everything right in an interview. And then I always say when the ESPN camera shuts off, there's like a whole nother world that happens.
Right.
Right. And if you can be the same person when the camera's on and when the camera's off, then you're a great person. Yeah. Right. But you're right. Your class has got a lot of star power in it, and it's going to get a lot of attention with that. But I want to ask you, you guys are going to have to be the loud ones. You're going to have to be the communicators, you 25s, I think. Because have you met the 26s yet?
Yes, I have.
They're not the loudest crew in the world.
Yeah.
They're really good volleyball players, but they're not quite the loud. They're not going to lead the pep rallies, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. So you're going to have to do, but there's some loud ones in your group that might have to teach them to speak up a little bit.
Yeah, but no, I think it's a great balance in having like Genevieve coming in as a 26 as a setter. Like, she's gonna be vocal, she's gonna have a voice. Like, all of them are different, and I think like that's good having like that little bit of contrast, because you can't have everyone trying to speak at the same time. So I think they'll fit right in.
Yeah, and I joke with all because I know them. Now, I would tell you I wouldn't want to upset any of the three of them.
No.
Because, yeah, they all have an ornery side. When you get any of the three of them mad, watch out. So right. Don't do that. But no, and they're all three. I just think they're all three great fits for what you guys going on. So that gym is nuts. So let's watch a little bit of this, and let's just kind of watch it. And you talk. I might ask you some some silly questions for you, but as we go, and of course, we're going to get a timeout a little bit, but let's talk through the timeout as they come back. But so do you guys, when you go to camp, do you play? Have you played against any of these guys? Any of the gals on the team? Like when you go to camp, or do you guys, now that you're verbal, do you guys go to like open gym or and get on the court with any of these guys?
Yeah, so I don't think that we're allowed to go to open gym, so
Oh
we
yeah, but like at camp, do they hop in?
but at camp, yeah, we had Jordan hop in for a little bit and we did like a little short court competition. Aiden did a little bit. Even like Eric hopped in with us during the short court competition and he gets really competitive
Yeah,
with that. So it was really fun to play against him. All the girls were saying how like this is his game. This is where he's like super competitive and intense. So he was even hopping in there a little bit. But yeah, we've gotten to play with like a few of them. Um Mostly in like little games or activities and not as much in like actual game like 6-on-6s, just trying to like rest them and protect them for the season. But yeah, sometimes they've hopped in there a few times and it's really fun.
what about you've been the theirs is called the Texas Experience Camp.
Yes.
All right, so have you've gone to that?
Yes, I have.
All right, so talk about so we kind of compare Texas, Nebraska, and everything right now. So it seems like Dream Team Camp for the Huskers is bigger, and they invite quite a few top prospects, and it's awesome. They have a lot of big names, but then it seems like Texas, it's smaller, right? There's not a lot that attend that,
Yeah.
right? So, but what's the level of play and what's the competition like at that?
Oh my gosh. The level of competition, like I know this is gonna sound like kind of biased coming from me, but it's genuinely like it's a super hard camp and you learn a lot. I mean, think about the people that are coming in here. You have like big hitters like Henley coming in, a great setter like Genevieve. You're playing against Abby. You're like hitting against Callie
Yeah.
and Abby, like on the outside. So you have a pretty tough camp in front of you and it's really fun getting in there and grinding because a lot of us are still in season while this camp is going on.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an elevated practice, if you will, because you're playing against not only the best in your state, but like people come from all over the country to go to this camp. And it's really competitive, really intense, really fun though.
Well, and they probably feel like the uncommitted, so like this year, those 27s probably kind of feel like they're playing for a spot in essence.
Yeah, I feel like in the back of your mind, and I know especially when I was going there, I felt a lot of nerves and things going in. But as the camp kind of goes on, you realize that you're here for a reason. Like they want you to come to their camp for a reason, and
Right.
it's really to get to know you as a player. And obviously, I'm sure they're looking at how you play, but I think it's almost more about how you are as a person and how you're interacting with the girls that are there. So it's almost kind of takes the pressure off and puts it in the back of your mind.
What all right, and then we'll tune in. Let's watch this we'll tune in. I'll ask some questions. Let's just watch a little bit and we can talk as we watch. So who do you first of all, when you look at that outside hitter room, and now I know a couple of them are going to be gone, but what the heck? You
I
will
Yeah,
like you ever go like, what I get myself into, man? Like all that talent.
yeah.
I mean, you're going to be competing like crazy. Who have you watched? Who do you not? I shouldn't say really like, but do you model your game after anybody? Like, what about when you watch Maddie Skinner? Do you think you play similar to what she does?
I mean, how could you not want to take pieces from her game and try
Yeah,
to add to yours? Like one thing especially I know that I've been working on and watching her is like her back row attack. It's crazy lethal.
yeah.
It's almost like a front row middle attack. Like that's how hard it's coming at you. And that's like some things that I've modeled after her game. And growing up, like before Maddie even got to Texas, Logan was like my favorite player. She still is one of my favorite players. And just seeing how smart of a player she is, she has a lot of power, but she also knows how to control the ball and put it in the right places. So just kind of watching those girls and the girls that came before me, and even other players from like different colleges and things like that, it's I feel like I have my own game, but I try to like take things from other people's game and add it to my game to make it better.
All right. So as we're watching here, anybody on this court you played against them either at USA Volleyball or that you're watching now and you're, I mean, that they just have nasty game or any of these freshmen? Because there's a few freshmen that get on the court already, especially for Wisconsin. Charlie,
Yeah.
is go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
this is your show. You talk.
No, but I've played so at USA, I've played with the NTDP. I've went with Aiden, with
Yeah.
uh Lola on Wisconsin, and then Charlie and Aiden I played with at USA. Like in the USA gym for a national team, I've played with them and kind of gotten to compete against them and with them in practices especially. So those are like the girls that I played with, and I know how good they are and I know how high level they are. So it's just exciting to see how their game is translating to college and how it could be me in a few months, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and I know you guys all come in with that right away. And what's that recruiting talk like? Where you guys all, I know they talk about competing. What's that recruiting talk like to all the best recruits in the country, and what you're coming into? How does Jared kind of talk to you guys about that?
Yeah, he obviously, we're all great players being recruited to Texas, and he was very honest saying you're gonna have to work for your spot. He's not guaranteeing anybody anything because you literally can't. You have some of the most talented girls in the nation going to Texas. He was very honest about me coming in and having to earn a spot and how it's gonna be hard and it's gonna be challenging and how they're there to support you, and obviously you're going to get better while you're in the gym, but you're not guaranteed a spot on the court when you get there.
Man, what Aiden's going to have a huge year for these guys, isn't she?
Yeah, she definitely is.
Oh, yeah, that was a huge pickup for them. And I like Lola. I mean, to me, she's like the ultimate. I I saw her at NTDP, but I saw her at one of the Under Armour, well, at All American Week, and I'm like, she may be the perfect libero. We kind of called her. We were talking about her last week in Louisville. We're like, she's kind of like that mosquito, like she's just probably just always coming up to you, talking like advice, talking to teammates, like just get away, and she's just always there.
Yeah, no, I played with Lola. I think it was only one USAV NTDP camp that we went to together. But she is so scrappy and she
Oh,
picks up everything, and those are like it's annoying as a hitter, like seeing how she is, but you're almost like in awe of how she can get to everything like that. And I feel like a lot of liberos are like this. They're very feisty and they're ready to get anything. And I feel like that's like the best trait almost you can have is they're just ready to pick up anything, very scrappy.
okay. Sorry, this freshman. God, I'm forgetting her name right now. Um,
On
yeah,
Trinity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Almost made the Canadian Olympic team for track.
Yeah.
Touches 10-7, and she's 5'11".
Yes.
Okay,
Just
like, well, and they said they're like a possible Canadian Olympian, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I remember hearing her name for volleyball. I'm like, no, not volleyball, track and field.
yeah.
Okay, he's
No, literally when I saw that, I was like, there's like that's insane. She's like a complete athlete. Like, and that's I mean, you can see how high she jumps even like on TV. I think they were saying earlier in the game how she's I think 5'11" they said, and she jumps
yep.
as Carter Booth. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Well, and just to throw her in, I mean, what people don't realize is like, well, they're throwing you 18-year-olds just into these big time matches right away, week one. And you guys are stepping up. I mean, these freshmen are stepping up and stepping in, the setters doing it. I thought I was so happy for Nielis Akbel the other night for Louisville.
Yeah.
I mean, she did a very, very good job for being thrown into that atmosphere and playing the way she did. And it talks about the depth of their program. Oh, they're the champs, got a little bit more of a run. Let me ask you this, and I know Kari, I apologize. I lied to you big time. I said 15 minutes and we did not. So I apologize. We'll get you going. But you went on a visit too, and you went to a Wisconsin official. Tell me about Kelly, because I did not, I, had this grudge, been a Gopher, University of Minnesota, longtime football fan my whole life. And
Uh-huh.
Wisconsin's just kicked our rear ends for like almost 30 years. So, us adults get stuck on these rivalries. So I thought I just couldn't like Wisconsin. And so then at Nationals, I talked to him for 45 minutes. I'm like, I think I kind of like this guy because he's funny. And if you just watch him on TV, you're like, doesn't look like it. But then you watch him give interviews and you're like, that's a funny guy with a sense of humor. Is that what was the recruiting visit like at Wisconsin? And is that what he's like? Because as I've talked to more recruits, are like, I really liked Kelly, and I told him I totally gave him totally wrong first impression, I think.
Yeah, no, so the crazy thing is, so before, like during June 15th, I had like a list of schools that I like was most interested in. They matched up with a lot of things that I wanted in a college. And Wisconsin was on that list, but it almost was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to them. Like they're a great program. I know like everyone I've talked to has really loved them. And so I hop on the call on either the 15th or the 16th and I talk to them. And I'm at this time, I'm not even thinking of an official yet. I'm just thinking, okay, let me get to know the coaches. After that first call, talking to him and talking to Brittany and all their coaching staff, I literally loved the coaching staff. My mom literally still talks about how funny of a dude that Kelly is. Like whenever we see him on the TV, like his sense of humor is like it's almost like a dry sense of humor. It's so
Yeah,
funny, sarcastic. Yeah,
completely.
I literally like love their coaching staff, and that was the reason that I took a visit down there. Um, because I saw like they seemed like great people and they were great people when I went on my visit and even all the girls were great, but their coaches are amazing obviously, and it was just so fun to like see their personalities whenever you're finally able to talk to them.
Yeah, and I talked to Hallie this year,
Mhm.
and she's like, "No, I loved it." And I've told the story now a few times that he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to coach you hard, but I'm also like not like a monster. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to joke around with you after." And I think we can all respect that. Where I think you hit it right on the head. That dry personality, where then he might chew your rear end, but then he's going to be like, "Seriously, I had to yell at you for that? Like, come on." Car, you're like the number one player in the country. Why'd I have to yell at you for that? Like,
Yeah.
and you're like, I know, right? Where they build that relationship where you they're able to do that because they have a relationship with you off the court. Yeah. Yeah. And that's another one where in that program, I think the players are for the most part are so close. They're so close with that staff that they're able to push them to another level. Um, is what I've seen. And what I love and respect the heck out of them for is that they built that program. And I think they just said 12th year, but they built that program, and it's not easy to come into the Big Ten and not be an established power
Right.
and build your way up to what he's done. So I have a lot of respect for him. And yeah, he was like that when we watched that match, and he was like elbowing me. He's like, ooh, ooh. Did you see that? And then yeah, and then you just ask about his daughters, and then he's not Mr. Gruff and tough then when he talks about his daughters. So he's got a soft spot for sure. So, anyways, well, hey, we will let you. I lied 27 minutes over, so I apologize. But well, hey, do you guys go to the Las Vegas tournament or no?
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
tournament for high school.
yeah.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I get to go and work that this year. So I'm pumped for that. So I will hopefully get to see y'all, get to see your team then. I'm excited because I know how good you guys are. So I will hopefully get to see you guys in a couple weeks there. And thanks for your time. How are those two brothers of yours doing? Are they just
No. Yes. So my brother, he's doing really well. He actually just got an offer for basketball from Texas, so he's really excited about that. Yeah.
oh
So he's been really excited, and his basketball has just been like taking off now, especially playing on like in basketball they have the EYBL circuit, which is like
yep.
one of the best circuits for basketball. So he's really excited about that. And then my sister, she's playing volleyball at TAV this year for 12. So she's excited to start her season this year for that.
Well, how about so sorry, don't you have the two little guys? Were they
No, I just have a younger brother and a younger sister.
okay? Okay. They were and so what grade's your brother in then? A junior?
He's a sophomore this year.
Oh wow. Yeah. I keep forgetting all the other sports they're able to offer it at different times. So that's good. So but they don't have to decide. He's got like a year until he has to commit, right?
Yeah, their I guess timeline is the same as volleyball for June 15th, being able to commit somewhere.
They can
But
just get offers.
it's more common, I think, that they commit their senior year, um, going in or committing to a school and figuring out where they want to go.
Yeah. They do a lot of that, like football. A lot of them commit 3 times.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hope volleyball never gets there. Yeah, their recruiting websites literally have an article, the top decommits of the month. So we're gonna hope that volleyball never gets there. We don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that. So, well, Kari, thanks so much. You're awesome. And I'm going to retire in the next 4 years because you're taking my job for sure. As soon as whenever you decide to go into this broadcasting deal, you got it nailed. But thanks for talking to us about Texas volleyball and just your stuff. And hopefully we see you in Vegas in a couple weeks. Okay.
Yes, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. You tell your folks I said hello. Okay.
Okay, I will.
All right. Take care now.
Okay.